Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. I am in my office this week, or today, I should say, and tomorrow. So I'm excited to be here with you. And we are heading to the banks of the Columbia River to meet these two wonderful women who quite literally feed the Pacific Northwest. Sisters Kim Brigham-Campbell on your right, I think on your left, I don't know how the camera's looking, and Terrie Brigham, who are members of the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla, and they co-own the Brigham Fish Market in Cascade Locks, Oregon. Which is a native-owned, family-run market where wild salmon, steelhead, and sturgeon move straight from tribal fishing platforms into fresh fillets, smoked fish, chowder, fish and chips for locals, travelers, and events. And if you've ever served Pacific salmon at a reception or sent attendees to eat along the gorge, women like Kim and Terrie are the ones behind those plates. And today we're going to talk about honoring treaty-based fishing traditions, how their market connects to tourism and events, and what planners and caterers can do to source seafood in ways that respect both the people and the river it comes from. So let's dive into that river, which I'm sure is very, very cold. Hello.
Hello.
Terrie and Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also need to note on here that it is Women's Herstory Month, and so I'm honoring them as female farmers, female producers, fisher women under the UN's Year of the Female Farmer. So thank you for feeding us and everyone that you do, and for being here today. So I want to jump right into that. I did say the river is cold, but just before we got on the show, we were talking about, where they fish, how they fish, or how you fish, and where you got them. And I want to start with that picture that's right above your head, Terrie. And
that is
tell us
Celilo
about that
Falls.
picture. Huh?
That's an old picture of Celilo Falls.
Uh-huh.
Our grandfather, it's platforms, scaffolds, and you go out there with a net. And usually in Celilo Falls, they would tie themselves on, because if you fell in, it was not
Not a great outcome.
not a great outcome all the time. It was, yeah.
So the Celilo Falls is went before the dams were built. So that was
Okay.
like back in before the 50s.
Before the 50s,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we have scaffolds along the river. Not Klickitat probably has white water above, scaffolds like that. But we have several scaffolds along the river that we fish off, and we do tie our kids off. They don't drop. They fall in. They got something to hang on to.
Okay. Yeah, that's like probably worse than falling out of a whitewater raft, right? In going down the river. So when I first reached out to you, Kim, I said, our chef friend Jeff Summer said you need to talk to Kim, and honoring you. And you're like, I run the market and Terrie does the fishing. And so, and this market's been around since 2000. The Brigham Fish Market has been around since 2014, so 12 years now. But it's rooted in your family's relationship with the river across, as you said just before we started, 4 generations. Can you each of you share what that relationship felt like growing up, and what made you decide the time was right to open a market and fish and feed the people around you?
I think growing up, fishing was it was a must. Actually, our parents both fished, and they had a men's boat that they did, and then my mom ran our boat, which consisted of, I have 3 sisters, Terrie and my older sister Charlie, and then our aunt. So there was 5 of us on that boat and it was called the Crabettes. But anyway, we fished that, and that just helped, like, I didn't care for it back then. I mean, I did like the money because it helped, like, pay for my first car and school clothes and things like that. But it wasn't until older that I started to appreciate it. We opened in 2014 because the Port of Cascade Locks came to my family because we were a trusted source here in the locks. And they wanted a brick and mortar building. It wasn't something that I like dreamed of doing or anything. I was actually just being a hairdresser at that time, and fishing was kind of a side thing. But me and my husband moved forward and started looking into plans to do it. And it just, was an opportunity that we couldn't pass. And so that's pretty much why we opened.
I mean, so you've been fishing with your mother, your aunts, your grandmother as well, or just no?
Not grandmother. No,
Okay.
No.
no.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
we've been fishing since we were little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably got on the scaffold when we were about 8 years old, and
Wow.
been doing it since. I take more of the commercial side and the boat.
Okay.
I mean, we did have that when we were younger, and Kim gets a little seasick. And
I'm a land girl.
Okay.
not that is any easier by any stretch, but yeah, it gets a little rough out there, and so we did same thing growing up, and we extra money for school clothes and fuel and whatever teenagers wanted to spend their money on,
Right.
and I enjoyed it, but I left for a few years as well. Or I left for a few years and went to Seattle area. Was in the casino business for about 20 years or something like that, and then came back and just started fishing with my dad again, and then when they decided to open up the market, we just started filling the market with products. And like she said, our name was a trusted name, that we took care of our fish and took very good care of our fish.
Okay. So, and there was one word that I said in that description of that, the where did it go? The oh my gosh, I lost my word. But it's tribal land where you're able to fish, and so talk to us about that. And you said it was before we started. You said it was between two dams. So how much distance is that? Hours? We can talk hours wise, Terry, versus miles. But so it's native owned and run, and talk about how you protect that land that you're fishing.
So
in the river.
to be clear, the river it's not tribally owned.
Okay.
The river is from Bonneville Dam to McNary Dam. The Columbia River is where only tribal fishermen can commercial fish.
Okay.
There's definitely a sports fishery. Sportsmen can fish there, hook and line, but below the dam, Bonneville, is where non-natives can commercial fish.
Okay.
So between Bonneville and McNary, which is a couple hour drive, about 175 miles up to the dam, of where we can fish off of, and that would include scaffold fishing, hook and line, dip netting, long lining, and gill netting. And so depending on the season will kind of depend on what's being done for that particular fish.
And so there's different fish at different times of the year.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, we have like the spring salmon, and it's been over a decade since we've been able to commercial fish spring salmon, but I do fish for it to feed to fish for the tribe. And the tribe has a quota, and each of the 4 tribes, there's 4 tribes that have the rights to fish on this river, and it's ours, Umatilla, Nez Perce, Yakima, and Warm Springs.
Okay.
And they're all confederated, so there's several different tribes for each one. And we each get a quota to feed our people that gets stored at a tribal freezer for namings, for celebrations, first foods, deaths, and they save that throughout the year for all those events.
So yeah, so when the spring salmon first comes back, that's like it's a lot to the tribes first, so
Okay.
so there's ceremony fishing, then there's subsistence, and then typically if there's enough fish, then it's commercial, but we don't always get that.
And what's I'm going to be naive. What's the cause of not enough fish, to be able to commercially fish? Or is that a
Lots.
So many.
yeah.
The water's getting warmer, and
Okay.
They go
Sea
out in the
lions.
ocean, and the what they call it, the red blob was there for a few years of the warm stuff, and that's there. And then sea lions, like she said, below the dam, there used to be just a couple,
Now
but
there's hundreds.
hundreds.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah,
Mhm.
and if the water flow is not enough to bring the fish up, um, then they just stay, because there's a creek right below the dam, so they stay in the cooler water, and it's just like a buffet for the sea lions.
Wow.
So even though there's an estimate of what there is, then they have to get through all that, and then they have to get through the dams, and then they have to, so there's so many things that have caused a decline. What has saved the runs and like brought back the summer runs was hatcheries.
Okay.
And hatchery fish, yeah, they're created there,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, and released, and they do the same swim as
Mhm.
the wild caught wild fish do when they're coming from the stream. So um even though they're hatchery fish, they're still natural. They're not like the frankenfish that are color injected and
Uh,
All the
I think they call them Atlantic salmon or
okay.
Yes.
Well, wouldn't Atlantic salmon be on my side of the country?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And not you're the Pacific side.
Anything that's color injected,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd stay away from that.
And how do you know that? How can you tell?
They have to tell you.
Oh, they have to tell you. Okay.
Maybe not now, considering they have all kinds of
I
crazy
think here
foods.
in like in Hood River County, like you go to Safeway and it will say like on their little things like Atlantic salmon, and it will say color
Color
dye.
injected,
Yeah.
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 Okay, I will now be looking for those words on every label. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I actually got some salmon yesterday, so I have to go look at that label for sure. Um, walk us through, I mean, you've talked a little bit about that, but walk us through what a day of fishing actually looks like. You're working in the tribal platforms and the scaffolds. Um, what does it feel like to be out there, and how does it connect you to your grandparents, your parents' experiences? And then I actually want to get back to what all the different types of fishing that you mentioned, the different netting and things like that, line and things.
Like
I mean,
Let's do most of the fishing.
For me, well, like we said, we've both been scaffold fishing since we were little, and
mhm,
the fish run best in the morning and the evening when it's getting cooler.
mhm,
Uh, so we get up in the morning and we go check our hoops if we had them in, or we just go down there and throw them in and stay down there and fish all day. And it's when we were younger, we'd bring our stereos and have change for the people that are buying right off the scaffold, and just spend the whole day down there, um, laughing or fighting, whichever day, whichever it entailed for that day.
mhm,
Um, as far as commercial fishing, I get up pretty early in the morning, go get my boat. My crew usually meets me, or I pick them up, whichever. Launch my boat and run the gear, um, and that's my happy place. I enjoy it. See the sunrise, and and it's just, I don't know. I guess I just feel connected there.
yeah.
And I fish with my dad for, I don't know, last 17, 18 years now.
Yeah, and he's 80.
He's
So
80.
and he's
wow.
still
Yeah, he's still on the boat,
Mhm.
still bossing me around. But I enjoy it. Those are memories that not everybody can do this. Not everybody wants to do it,
Right.
but I get to do it with my family and teach my kids. And my middle daughter, she gets seasick too, but my son enjoys it, and my nephews, and it's every emotion all tied into one little boat.
Oh, I'm
And
sure. Yeah.
it depends on the day. You're happy and having a good time, or you're working your butt off to get it done, get it quick and get back in safely.
Mhm.
I've been out in weather where it's -9 and 105, depending on the season and what I'm fishing for.
Okay.
So and then we drive, depending on what season, we drive it back
Mhm.
for we clean it and drive it back. And um, my brother-in-law takes care of the filleting, and my sister mostly, because I'm doing the fishing, and then we bring it to the market and fillet it and get it into the case as quick as we can.
So Kim, so talk us through that. So once now, are you cleaning it when you're on site before you bring it back to the market, or are you cleaning it once you get it to the market?
I'm my crew, my dad and I, we usually clean it. We have a area where we clean it and then put it on ice immediately.
Okay.
So that, yeah. So they're already on ice once they even they're clean and on ice once they even get to the market.
Okay. And that's a whole fish though, cleaned.
Yes.
Yes. And then
Yep.
Kim,
Yes.
your team takes over from there.
Correct. Me and my husband do all the filleting, and we just decide we do smoking here on site. We do the filleting. So uh, then what else with it?
We scrape, he scrapes the backbones, and we use that for
Salmon patties.
salmon patties. And then we save the heads. Some people like to
Boil them for broth and all that. Yeah.
that, and
Okay, for
crab.
broth I get. Okay, eating no
Yeah.
thanks.
I do have one customer. She's Seattle area, and she comes down and buys 100 at a time because
Oh, wow.
she's like, I just love to eat them. And my local market has too small. See, they're too small. I need the bigger fish.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
most
so
of everything of the fish is taken care of and um, processed in some way other than, and the guts, they just get thrown back in the river to feed the sturgeon.
okay. All right, so well, I'm gonna come back to one question that I have, but so I wanna go back to the market aspect. So, and the seasonality of this too. So, your menu is very deeply seasonal based because you just talked about how fishing like that. So, how do you and yesterday I was talking about with a farmer who grows vegetables, like you shouldn't be eating asparagus in December because it's a March spring vegetable. So, how do you educate your consumers, your customers that are coming into the market who aren't thinking about seasonality and helping them understand the changes and why that it matters to be eating the fish at certain times of the year?
For us, it doesn't really. It's either like fresh or
Mm,
previously frozen, because like
okay.
when we have commercial seasons, we have a really big freezer, so we are able to fillet and vacuum seal and throw them in the freezer, and then just go back to them and bring it like to the case, or again smoke it, or do some whatever we're doing in the kitchen with it. So um, most of our customers just mainly know when it's fresh. And so some people will
Okay.
come buy a whole fish and we'll fillet it and vacuum seal it and send it home for them. So they just put it in their freezer. But we don't have to, I mean, not a ton of waste. We just hope we get from season to season and still have fish. So I don't have to be a chicken stock or, chicken
Yeah.
selling sandwiches or something because I have no fish.
We do have to tell a few people because they think that, being tribal, that we get to fish whenever we want. And that is
Yeah, that's true.
definitely not the case. They're like, well, where's the fresh fish? Oh, it's not in season right now. So, um, we have to tell them what season, educate them on what seasons that are coming up, when we're going to have them. Um, and handed out thousands of business cards, mostly Kim's.
Well, and also we don't always get a season too.
Yeah.
So some of it is, and then we have to source it somewhere else, out of Alaska, down to the coast and things like that. So it's not always just what we're catching, but it would be local still. No farm raised ever.
No, yeah, no.
Okay.
That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, if you have a slow season, I'm like, and it is, and I was listening to a podcast of another friend of mine who's a farmer and saying, because she only does chickens a certain time of year, right? And so she has to go find partners, like you just mentioned, so that she can feed them all, sell the chicken all year long because you want to remain top of mind because that's your
Correct.
business.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Mostly we're able just to keep it within the family because we have a big family. My sister and my son and uncles, and then we do have a couple of the other natives that we do source to that keep us. And each year is getting bigger, so we're having to, get creative with when we're getting in and how much we are able to save and
we're
afford.
we're very picky as well, because we know how to take care of our fish and we're feeding other people with that, so we're prioritize that and make sure that their fish is taken care of as well. So that
And explain to me what you mean by taking care of your fish.
having it on ice,
Okay.
bleeding them,
Yes.
bleeding them is important, and just making sure that we inspect them before we buy them.
Okay.
So yeah, when the fish are caught, if
Mhm.
they like sit in a nets too long, then they're either mushy or they're not great quality. Or if the fishermen don't bleed them, the blood sits in the meat, and so it's not as good or firm. So and you can tell that, or how long they're sitting on it before they want to sell it to us. So it just we only accept the quality for sure.
So are those things that you just described, is that what makes fish smell fishy or taste fishy? And because a lot of like fresh fish doesn't necessarily taste fishy. Is that right?
Correct. And it's also season because like our spring season, like the fish is, it's first back from the ocean. So to the river, it's the best fish. Sometimes there's only people and it's expensive. And that's sometimes
Yes.
All people will eat. Like right now, I went to the mouth of the Columbia and bought some, and they were about $200 per fish. So we're selling it here in the market for $45 a pound, which is expensive. But it's really, it's the spring fish and it's good.
And how okay, my one question, how big is a fish? I mean, like when you're catching one, because I'm like, you also told me that you're not catching one at a time, you're catching a whole bunch. And so please tell me what a whole bunch is and poundage wise or length or
Spring salmon are about
12 to 15.
Yeah, 12 to 15 pounds. They're the smaller of the salmon, the Chinook,
okay.
the kings, they call them.
And then our summer salmon,
Summers get bigger, and they're about
25.
25.
Yeah.
The biggest one we caught on
55.
55 pounds, and that was called a June hog, and those are gone pretty much. That strain of the fish is, and if you research Columbia River salmon, or Columbia River fish in general, they have pictures of, salmon that are 85 pounds and
Wow.
sturgeon that are over 12 feet long and
But they're not no more.
not anymore. No. And then the fall fish get about, I think about 40 pounds,
Okay.
and it ranges, so you're getting a 15 or 10 to 40-pound fish in the fall. Sockeye salmon are about 5
5 to
pounds
8,
whole.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
5
5 to
pounds
8.
whole. Yeah, 5 to 8 whole. And then shatter, those are the ones we can catch, about 10 fish in a in a net, and they're a couple pounds each.
Okay. So out of a 40-pound, or I mean, when you're filleting it, how many is that? Just two fillets? Is that I mean, or because, like, all right, I'm going to say when I go to the grocery store and I buy my fish, I'm buying it in a square piece that's like 4 by 4. I mean, how many is that? How many of those are you getting from one fish?
About 5.
About 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, per side, or for one whole fish, you'd get 10.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
per side. So each fillet you would get about 5, I would say.
And that's for
Okay.
spring. So
Okay.
then obviously the summer and fall will be more, 7 or 14 for total.
Okay.
And back to your like more fishy, like it's either like lack of care or like I was going to say the fall fish because they have been in the river the longest. That's when you start getting a little bit of the fishier smell. I feel like
Mhm.
also, and then also that's when the prices go down too. Right now
Okay.
the spring, like I said, the spring is about $21 a pound, and then in the fall you're down to $8 a pound. So
And
it's a different fish.
I say that again. What was that last part?
It's just a different quality of fish,
Okay.
Because of
same
because
because
the oils of
yeah,
the fish, yeah.
and how long it's still.
How long? Yeah, because the fall fish, like I said, I drive 175 miles to go to where I'm fishing.
Mm-hmm. So
And
they've
in the
traveled
river,
175 miles.
Mhm.
plus from the coast to Bonneville. So
Oh,
they've come
wow.
in from the Columbia,
They're a
which
bit
is,
tired.
probably, yeah.
They're worn out. They're worn out.
Yes, and they're bigger, but they have less oilers in them, and but yeah, like she's saying, when it starts to get, they're just a warmer water, and
Okay.
that's when you have to get them in ice as fast as you possibly can, and bleed them. And if you're ever going to get a whole fish, the eyes and the gills are the telltale sign. If the eyes are cloudy and the gills are white, that's
Mhm.
sitting there too long. You want
Oh,
the
wow.
gills to be red and eyes clear.
The gills need to be red, you said?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to go to the Fisher's Market and just check. I'm really like, this is so intriguing. Um, so, I mean, you've become a destination. The fish market has become a destination for gorge visitors. And I mean, you were featured in Travel Oregon, and recommended in food tourism guides. How do how do you think about your role in telling the story of tribal fishing and indigenous food sovereignty to people who just came in for some fish and chips?
Oh my God.
It feels like I know. Well, depending on how busy. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
like
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I visit with the customers quite a bit, and just see where they're from
Hmm.
and then show them the pictures on the wall, which is an easy conversation just to say, this is my family. We've been fishing for generations, and then just kind of go through that I caught this fish this morning and I filleted it, and this is, coming to you. And then also just talk about how it's our native like first foods. It's one of our, important to us and the tribes, and um, people are usually really um, accepting and
Open to it.
yeah.
And we respect what we do and what it takes to get it to the case and get it into the market. And I think that reflects in what we're telling people about what we do and how we do it. And that's something our parents taught us.
Hmm.
And the first foods is something that they have celebration for at back on the reservation, where they have a longhouse, and they have a feast and celebrate the first salmon coming back, and then the berries and the roots, and so it's ingrained in us, I guess.
And you're continuing to ingrain that into your kids.
Oh, correct.
Yes, absolutely.
And how old are they now?
I have my oldest daughter is 32.
Oh, okay.
My middle daughter is 19, and my son he'll be 16 next month.
Okay.
I have a little bit of a range.
I was like, mine are 25 and 27, so they're a little closer
Yeah,
together.
a little bit of range there.
No, and I mean, and so that's interesting. And the 16-year-old to the 30-year-old, is there, do they see difference? Do you see different perspectives from them? in how you run the business and being part of the tribe?
Yes. And thankfully all my kids are close to each other, and they enjoy fishing, going scaffold fishing and spending, hunting and doing things together. And but they all of them have the understanding of how important it is for first foods, and how important it is to respect the salmon and respect the the animal that we're hunting, whether it's deer, elk, or bear on occasion.
Mhm.
And so yes, they I would say that they see kind of the same, but obviously the 32-year-old's going to understand it a little bit more than the
Mhm.
16-year-old, but he'll get there.
And Kim, what about your kids in their 20s?
My son is still part of he fishes with Terry and my dad, so he's doing commercial fishing with them and loves it. Actually, he is doing construction also, but he would prefer to be on the river and keep doing, fishing for the family and taking care of mom. And my daughter, she is works here with us. She's one of the managers, and so yeah, we just want to pass this on to them to show them, run the market. We're not getting any younger, and it's hard work.
Mhm.
So yeah, pass it on to all of them, and so that they understand and respect it is what our gift is to them.
I love that. Now, as Indigenous women who are running a seafood business, what have you had any barriers to have you had to navigate any barriers, whether it's in regulation, business lending, perception, being taken seriously as owners and producers?
um I would say back when we were younger, and even when I started fishing with my dad, it was, you know, women aren't supposed to be fishing, or they're, just an older misogynistic view.
Mhm.
But as we've gotten older, we see and have seen more and more women and young girls out there learning and wanting to do um, what we do. So it's for me, there wasn't, I don't know, not much for commercial fishing. We always had our buyers, people that we've been going to for decades. My dad first, my parents first, and then they're still in the business, or their kids are still in the business. So we're second generation working with each other.
Mhm.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But, like my dad, when they were fishing younger, they had sugar porn in their gas tanks and bullet holes in their boats, and they uh, police officers tying their nets and dragging them up on shore. Fish wars. They had the real barriers, and they paved the way. None of paved, they made a road to help the rest of us, all tribal people on the river, to have the opportunity. And it's hard work. We have all struggled, and they say the first 2 years you're good for a business, but I would say at least 5.
Feels like 10.
Yeah, and we're in 12. We're like, okay.
I feel like we learn everything the hard way.
I
It's
guess
like,
we did.
it wasn't, we knew fish and we knew our product and and the community, but business was secondary.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
so we just keep
that was trial by fire.
for sure.
Yeah. So what okay, I'm going to go back to the tribal aspect of this as well, but for event planners, for Chef Jeff, who he actually works on at a hotel which is on a reservation, right? You know,
Correct.
um what can you help us understand what the rights look like on water and why they matter to the food system?
So each season is uh allocated. I don't want to say allocated, but yeah, Oregon, Washington, Corps of Engineers, and Oregon, Washington, Corps of Engineers, all the tribes
Mm-hmm.
that go into a meeting and look at the numbers for the expected return of each season. So spring, summer, fall,
So
salmon,
number of fish.
Okay. And it's always a guesstimate because we don't know until they hit Bonneville Dam, and that's when they can start counting them because there's nothing to count them from the mouth of the Columbia until then. And so then they decide each season that we have, and sometimes it's week by week, other times it's 2 weeks, and then they reassess the numbers that have been reported to them, and then decide if we can fish more, because lower river non-tribal fisheries get 50% of the run of the allocated run, and then tribal gets the other 50, but there's also an escapement, which is I think 20. And the escapement is so that they keep coming back. We can't, nobody wants to catch the last fish.
Right.
So the seasons are allocated by that.
And sometimes there isn't seasons.
And sometimes,
so it would be hard for me to like consistently like give to Chef Jeff, like, if he was constantly supply or, ready for my supply. It, depending on the numbers, it wouldn't always be there. So it is kind of hard, And they always say we're going to have a record season, but then we get there and it's not true.
Record low.
It's record low.
It's a record. I mean, summer salmon was gone for 20 some odd years before it was rebuilt with hatcheries, stuff like that. And, so we didn't fish. And I remember
what did you
when we were younger. Well, thankfully I had a job. So, and that's what other people had to do is like, and that's summer. So we'd have a spring and a fall, but summer was non-existent for.
Or our freezers were full because we could, because then our subsistence for us, we would can and dry and so we ate well.
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah. And there was, like I was gonna say, there was a time where we our fall season was 5 days.
Wow.
Because there were there were other factors. There were fish wheels that would just nothing would get past those. And so that about decimated the runs. And then Oregon, Washington, the tribes and Corps started all finally working together, really working together, because they were just going to be gone if they didn't. And that's also the other important thing that we try to teach our kids is that you have to leave some for it to come back. And we look at that, tribal people look at that for the next 7 generations, not just our kids. So they try to make the decisions that are going to help sustain it and have it still be here. But the warmer rivers and the sea lions and all that, those are new things that we have to adjust to, and another barrier.
Yeah. I mean, and thinking through and just thinking through the food system, with what we're going through, right? Just what we see in the news and lots of changes and things, but thinking through the food system for 7 more generations. I'm like, that's great, 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 great grandkids. Or I don't even know if I got all the greats in there, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what we should all be doing. Like thinking through our farms and our farmland and our rivers and our oceans. Yeah.
Well, that's what the treaties were for, our treaty, obviously we got put on the reservation, but our ancestors fought and demanded. We weren't given anything. They fought and demanded that we remained or what is it? I can't think of the word right now, but we kept our rights. We kept our rights to hunt, to fish, to gather roots and berries in our usual and custom places. So when they signed that treaty in 1855, they were thinking of the next 7 generations so that we were able to still do what we do.
And okay, I want to jump back because you both said first food. So explain that in that context. Your first, right? Did I say that right?
Yes, first foods. It's the first salmon that comes back.
Okay.
I do the ceremonial subsistence. My dad has done the ceremonial subsistence since the 70s for the tribe. And the first fish that we pull out of the river, we put a little rope in it, and the tribe comes, because we're 2.5 hours away from our reservation. So
Okay.
the fisheries department comes down and picks up the fish and brings it back to the tribe where they have uh, first foods return of the salmon celebration
Yeah.
ceremony with in the longhouse, where all the people come together and sing and pray and respect that our salmon have
Give
returned.
thanks. Yeah.
And give thanks.
Mhm.
Yes. And that happens with, we have celery feast, we have huckleberry feast, we have root feast, and that's what creator is given us to help sustain our bodies and sustain our lives, and that's what first foods are.
And you fought for the treaty fought for those rights to continue that.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, because I mean, people are like, "Oh, you were given." No, we weren't. We weren't given anything. Well, our people fought for what we have, and
To keep
you know,
what yeah. Yeah.
to keep a
Mhm.
little bit of something what we were doing, and that was the first foods were extremely important, or are extremely important.
Mhm.
That's why it's in the treaty.
Wow, that's a lot to carry, a lot to um to push forward and to remember, all of those things wrapped into one. And that's amazing. That you're carrying that on, from I'm gonna cry now, carrying that on, sorry, to your kids and then to your grandkids, and your nieces and your nephews and all of that. I mean,
That's an honor for sure.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Now I'm gonna cry. Now I'm gonna stop. Um, okay, so this is the UN's International Year of the Woman Farmer. It's putting a spotlight on women across all the food production. Farming, fishing, foraging, etc. What does that mean to be a woman of the working waterfront right now? I mean, you said Terrie, you said there's some women that are coming into it. So what does it mean for you two doing this and going forward to continue on that tradition?
It's I don't know. For me, in the very beginning, I thought that everybody fished. I thought everybody hunted. I thought that. And, as I got older, I obviously realized that was not the case.
Yeah. Our dad has 3 girls.
3 girls, yeah. So
he had to teach somebody.
yeah, and it teaches all. Yeah. So getting to do this with my family, and my nephew, her son, and mine, and my dad as a female, as a woman, or I don't really get treated too much different, and I think that was the goal.
Mhm.
So I may not lift as much, but I'll get it somehow, some way. I'll figure out a way. But to hand that down or to teach somebody else is, it's for lack. Well, it's an honor. I guess it's an honor because uh, we were always taught that you teach anybody that wants to learn, and so that's that you're passing it down, and and you'll know who does and does not want to learn, but if they're seeking out help, you teach people so that it's a knowledge that's passed down to the next generation or the generation after that, and you get to look back and say I was a part of it.
Mhm.
Now we have like schools and people reaching out because, like, I mean, for me, I don't really feel like looking at it, you don't realize like the impact that you have, or how people are looking up to you. Because for me, I'm like, I'm just doing what we do. But now that we have people and kids and
That was
schools,
something I was pointing out too. I was like, yeah, we're just doing what we do. So
yeah. But now you start seeing the impact that you have, or just or when other tribal members are reaching out to get their foot in the door to start their own business, to do value added to our food and to, start where we started many, 12 years ago. It's uh, been really like, again, an honor, or I guess, a nice pat on the back.
Definitely a learning experience,
Mhm.
because we didn't realize, I don't think, or at least I didn't, what impacts we would have on other people.
For sure.
Mhm. So is for a meeting planner, what can we as meeting professionals, if we're coming to your area or any other area that's on tribal land, how can we support the indigenous food businesses like yours and tell those stories to our attendees? And I went to University of Maryland on a tour a couple years ago, and they built their new cafeteria for the students on tribal land, and they partnered with the tribe and to bring in that food into the cafeteria. So I know they do one of the one of the sections in the in the cafeteria is all about the indigenous food and what they're serving, but up on the walls they've got all of these images and stories of the tribe, that because they did not want to exclude that, because it's an important part of where the build of the building. So how can we as meeting professionals support you and other indigenous food businesses?
Well, I wish we were near the tribe, but we're um
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours away from the tribe.
Mhm.
So, um, there's not a lot that we do for our tribe. The tribe didn't help with like our funding or any of the stuff
Mhm.
being native and woman owned. It wasn't, they would help us if we stayed on the tribe and was able
Okay.
to do that. So, we didn't get that support, but we do, you know, um, back before all of this funding was cut. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it last year? Last year we were part of the distribution to the tribal members. Like the tribe was getting smoked fish and our smoked salmon dip that we make here in house, and then some of our fresh fish, and we were like able to give that out to some of our tribal members there. But other than and I think a lot of the business because like Intertribe and all of the other ones. Anytime that there's a meeting near us, we get their support for sure. And if they have a little catering event, they reach out to us, and we do quite a bit of that with them.
Yes. I
So
mean, I think if that's what, small businesses, you have to do a little research and look in the area, because I know there's a tribally owned coffee shop in Portland,
Okay.
and and we, I don't know, we do advertise it, and I'm sure everybody else does that you're tribally owned, and it's, they're starting to get their foot in the door, get their, taking steps to be more mainstream.
Mhm.
But like, it's been 12 years, and last 3 years is probably when we were able to, and got the attention to do any sort of catering, and getting the businesses from Intertribe.
and travel Oregon's been
Yeah,
amazing for
travel
us.
has
Like
been
they reach
amazing.
out for everything. So
Ooh, let me go
That's
get my
awesome.
cord.
Okay.
oh, she's gonna go.
Get the power.
Her
Okay.
battery. Yes.
Yeah, we don't want the camera to run out. Okay.
No.
No, I love the fact that Travel Oregon is helping support and promote, the tribal businesses, to help bring that attention to you and your bit and to the area, because it's a big part of Oregon, and
Yes.
they would be remiss if they didn't. Yeah, it would be a missed opportunity. Um, I know we're waiting for her to get her cord, but what
I'm sorry.
advice have you gotten from your mother, your aunt, your grandmothers about being a woman in the food business, or just the best advice you've gotten from them in general, not about being in the food business, but
It's in the bathroom.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Well, our mom is actually chairman of our tribe right now. She
Oh,
is
wow.
yeah. So she and she has been all our lives, like worked for the tribe. I remember her working for my grandpa, and she would travel with him and every that. So she's a great example of somebody that is just strong and I don't know.
A force to be reckoned with. She really
I
is.
can't think of the advice that she gave us,
Yeah.
but I think it's just by example. She's
Mhm.
taught us
Yeah, by example to
work hard and
work hard, and if you get a no, keep trying, find a different way, persevere,
Mhm.
or don't no, don't fade into the background, stand out.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Okay, so let's do some rapid fire questions real quick.
No drink.
No. All right. Chinook, coho, or steelhead? Did I say all
Chinook
those
is
right?
your huh?
Yep.
Chinook is
Smoked Chinook, spring salmon.
there's spring. Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's spring, summer, and fall.
You're
And the
asking which
Chinook.
one we like better?
Yeah, pick
Yeah.
one and tell me why.
Oh,
Oh, spring salmon. They are more oilier. They're a brighter. And they come in the cold water, so
Mhm.
they sustain a better flavor. And but
yeah.
along that, it's either spring salmon or sockeye salmon.
Okay.
And there's just
Who knew there
better.
were so
Chinook
many
is
kinds?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what's the best way to eat salmon after a long day on the river?
We usually bake it in the tin foil, salt and pepper, simple. We would when we eat out somewhere and they're like
They drown it.
they
in
drowned it in
something.
mayonnaise or sauce or something,
Yeah.
we're like, no, just salt and pepper.
Yeah.
So no
My-
olive oil as well or no?
No.
My
No?
husband does. It was pretty good, but the simpler the better. I mean, I had a friend who cooked his grandpa a really nice. He's a chef, and he had a piece of fish and I don't know, slathered mayonnaise or something
Mayonnaise,
on
I
it
think,
like
yeah.
that. He gave it to his grandpa, and he looked at it, grabbed his knife, and scraped everything off of it. He says, "I want to taste the fish."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Okay. What's one thing tourists always get wrong about fresh fish?
That we can get it anytime.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can fish anytime we want. Why don't
Yes.
you just go catch one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and we were talking about that new show, The Madison, and I think the opening scene with Kurt Russell and Matthew Fox was like Kurt Russell wasn't getting any fish, right? I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And
That's why they call it fishing, not
Yeah.
catching, is always what we say.
We say it's fishing, not catching.
oh, I love that. That's so true. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Okay. What has been your greatest obstacle or your biggest obstacle and your greatest joy from what you do?
Gosh,
Yeah.
knowing all the rules, knowing everything.
Yeah, that's
It's like it just feels like there's always something, but
and that's there's always something to learn.
Mhm.
That my greatest joy is just being on the river, and it's sometimes it's flat, calm, and comfortable, and other times it's 35-mile-an-hour winds, and you're hanging on just to
Wow.
and trying to keep dry. But obstacle is not really not always knowing what our fishing season is going to be, and how long it's going to be, and how much time we have to get our product and fill our own freezers. So
Yeah.
mine is definitely, well, the business has succeeded for 12 years. We have some really great customers, repeat customers, and like huge support from lots of people. And then when I get to read all the reviews and how we affect people, and they always are saying how great we are and nice, and all of the good comments, that's something I always look forward to.
we've had customers that come here since we were 12.
Yeah.
Really?
You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Okay, to finish it out, finish the sentence. Every meal should.
Be shared with family.
Yeah.
Tastes good. Tastes good.
Okay, awesome. Well, and they should taste good. It should be shared with family and with people that you love around the table. So how does everybody get in touch with you? How do they find the Brigham Fish Market?
We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have a website, brighamfish.com. It's probably the best one.
Okay.
Or email is on there.
Okay. All right, Brigham Fish, BRIGHAMFISH.com.
Yes.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you, ladies. I'm so honored that you allowed me to honor you as women making herstory, as a female fisherwoman, farmers, farmers, feeding us. So thank you so much for spending time with me today and for my listeners to learn about you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, definitely appreciate
Sorry we made you cry.
No, that's okay. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. You touched my heart, so I appreciate that. And that's all I can ask for. So everybody, there's one more farm her that I am honoring tomorrow, same time, 12 o'clock. So join us tomorrow, and that will round out the month of Women's Herstory Month. But please give Terry and Kim some business in at the Brigham Fish Market. So until then, stay safe and eat well. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.